Okay, so Leetcode practice time. So two goals. The first one is to see how to solve this problem, and we also put some solid code here. And the other thing is to see how to behave properly in the interview. So let's get started. So remember, the first thing in the interview is always to try to understand the problem. If there's anything unclear, please bring up the question to the interviewer to ask him or her to clarify. And also think about the edge cases at the very beginning. So let's take a look at this question. So meeting rooms 2. And given an array of meeting time intervals where interval I is equal to start I and I, and return the minimum number of conference rooms required. Okay, so if you have 0, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, then we need two conference rooms to schedule all the meetings without conflict. Okay, like for this one, we need only one. Alright, so I think the first question is, suppose there are two meetings, one meeting end at 10 and the other one start at 10. Do we consider this as a conflict? I would say this one, I think this won't be considered as conflict. Let's assume that's the assumption. And let's see the constraints. So we have start I is smaller than I, so make sure, for sure that each meeting has a start time smaller than the end time. And we have at least one meeting. Okay, I think I pretty much understand what the problem is. I think there isn't too much of the edge case to consider, but if you want to definitely think about some edge case, I think if there's only one meeting, could be an edge case. Like we don't need to write any processing code for that kind of task case. So having said that, the next one is for us to find the solution for it. So what is the solution? So remember that we can separate the conference start time and the conference end time into separate arrays. So one is the start time array and one is the end time array, and we are going to sort it separately. So first one, we are going to have 0, 5, 15, for example, when we look at example 1. And the second one, we will have 10, 20, and 30 after sorting. So the thing is, for a given, for a given end time, we just need to see the number of the meetings that comes before it. So the thing is like this. So we are going to iterate through so we will have a separate index for the end time and start at 0, and then we keep track of the number of start time that comes before it. So there are 2 of it, and then when it arrives at 15, that means that one meeting has end and the other one just started. So since 15 is larger than 10, we are going to move our end index to the next step. So it's something like we keep track of, for a certain ending index, we keep track of how many meetings are before it. So the general idea is, for a certain ending time, we see how many meetings that comes before it, but not before the previous meeting. So that's pretty much the general idea. And the runtime is going to be all of n log n. Suppose there are n intervals here, because we need to do sorting for the separate start time array and the end time array. So having said that, let's do some coding. So in the coding part, care about your correctness wise and the speed. Don't be too slow, and also the readability. Alright, so first of all, we have the start time. So this would be equal to new, let's say int meeting num is equal to intervals dot length. All right, so it's going to be new int meeting num. Okay, and then the end time is going to be new int, this is the meeting num. Alright, so we are going to sort it, so it should be arrays dot sort sure. Okay, so arrays dot sort start time, and the arrays dot sort, this is end time. Alright, so having said that, you have a variable which is called max let's say required meeting room num. Let's start with 0, and we will have the end time idx. Let's start with 0, and sure, so well, so let's say we also have the start time index. It is for the use case to iterate through the start time array and the end time array. So well, the start time index is smaller than required meeting room, smaller than meeting room num, and the end time index is smaller than the meeting num. Let's say we have like the current meeting room num as equal to 0. So well, this one is true. I would say if the interval start time, it's not the intervals, it's actually you're just trying to compare the start time and the end time. So if start time idx is smaller than the end time idx, that means that we need to plus the current meeting room number. Otherwise we actually don't, if this is small, it is smaller, then we need to also move the start time idx. Otherwise it means that the start time alright, so I think this should be the reference. Okay, so this is end time, end time index. So otherwise it means that the start time of this meeting comes after or just about the same time about the current end time, meeting end time. So in this way, what we need to do is we will need to plus the end time index at this, and we don't really then we need to, so we need to minus the current meeting room num, because we have just a freed room because one meeting just ended, and we will make sure that we keep track of the required meeting room num as equal max, and what it says, this should be the current meeting room num, and finally we will return the required meeting room number. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, so let's see. For this one, let's do some testing. So let's for this input example. First of all, we have the start time as 05:15 and end time as 10:20:30, and the start time IDX starting at 0. Alright, so I'll just copy paste everything here. So we will have this, and this. Alright, so when start time, so when we start time IDX and end time IDX are both equal to 0, and we see that start time IDX is, so the first start time is smaller than the current end time, so we are going to plus the current meeting room, which is equal to 1, and also required meeting room is equal to 1 at this moment. And next time, so and also plus the start time index, and next time we see that 5 is still smaller than 10, we plus the current meeting room number, and then we plus the start time index, and also we increase we set the required meeting room num as to at this moment. And for the next one, which is 15, it is larger than 10, so it means that so actually when it comes to a, it is a new meeting, and it means a new meeting just started and then another meeting just ended, so we shouldn't just minus the current meeting room. That's because if so, it means that we only need 1 meeting room, but currently we need 2 meeting rooms, so that's a bug we definitely need to fix. So let's see how to do it. So if the start time index is, so it means that so we need to, if it is smaller, then we of course we are going to plus it. Otherwise, it means that the start time comes, okay, so it means the start time, which is the 15 that comes after it. So I'll say, so if it is, so 05, 2 meeting room for sure, no problem, and then the 15 is larger than 10, but we don't really want to minus the current meeting room. So how to actually, so this else branch is for sure not actually true. So when we encounter a meeting that should end the current meeting, then we should so if the so it plus the meeting room num. Okay, so actually I think I need to change to another way to write this. So it should be in let's say start time index is equal to 0, and the start time index is smaller than meeting num, and plus plus the start time IDX. So if the start time IDX is smaller than the end time IDX, that means that we need to plus plus the current meeting room num. So otherwise, it means it comes either after or okay. It means this meeting comes before comes after the current end time index. So we will need to it should be plus the let's say if we just simply plus the current meeting room, because we just started a new meeting, and if this one comes after a something, okay, it should be something like this. Well, the start time IDX is larger than the end time IDX. It's time for us to move the end time IDX, and at the same time you minus the current meeting room number. And at the same time we will need to set the required meeting room number. Okay, yeah, I think this should be the right version. Let's see. So for this one, let's say we reset everything to be 0, and then so for the first one we plus the current meeting room number, and and also we see that the start time is smaller than the end time, so the while loop is not going to be stepped into. And next time we plus the current meeting room number, and at the same time you update the required meeting room number. When start time IDX is equal to 2, so we encounter 15, which is larger than 10. First of all, we will increase the current meeting room, and we will use a while loop here. So the while loop here is going to iterate through the end time index until it hits a number that's larger than 15, which is 20. So this one I will plus the end time index, and also minus the current meeting room, which is equal to 2 now. Okay, so this one is so it should be larger or equal, or just larger. So start time is larger or equal to the end time. We can just remove the okay, so the end time, if the end time is smaller than the start time, then it means the meeting has finished. If it's equal, it means the meeting is finished as well. Okay, so I think this piece should be good. Let's give it a shot. Start time IDX, variable start time IDX is already defined here. Okay, so some compile arrow and the time. Okay, this is a typo here. So this one, it is what is that? It's like index out of the boundary. Start time IDX is larger or the start time IDX is larger or equal to, how could that be index out of the bound? How could that be index out of bound? Because what's the task is? It's 0, 10, 0, 35, 10, 15, 20. which is exactly this one. So let's see, 10, 20, 30. So start time, start time IDX is larger than the end time IDX. Then I will need to plus the end time IDX. And minus parameter row. So this is complaining about which line? 38. Alright, so this is complaining line 38. But how can it be array index out of bound exception? Index 3 out of the bound for line 3. It shouldn't be. So okay. So actually I haven't given this yeah, my bad. So I haven't really assigned anything for it. So in start time and the end time. So for int I is equal to 0, I is smaller than meeting num plus I. So start time I is equal to intervals I 0, and end time I is equal to intervals I, and this is 1. Alright. Other than that, I cannot really think of, other than that, I cannot really think of anything that shouldn't work. Alright, so I forgot to initialize the start time and end time, which is my fault. I was stupid. So let's give it a submission. Alright, so now it's accepted. So regarding the test case setup, I would say set up some meetings with overlap, or more than one meeting with overlap, and also more than 2 meetings with overlaps, and also some meeting with not overlapping. I would say that should be good enough regarding the task coverage. So that's it for this coding question. If you have any question about this puzzle, please leave me some comments. If you like this video, please give me a thumb up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.